Hey everybody, I hope all of you are doing really good today. Um, I'm pretty excited personally because I got the Ceratosaurus dentisculatus and the Ceratosaurus&nasicornis done. Now, if all you folks are wondering why it took so long, the main reason was because this big guy up here, the dentisculatus, he has moving parts, and every time the parts would move, the paint would get rubbed off, so I had to take my X-Acto knife and just kind of carve it out a little bit. But as you can see, now it's fine. And he moves pretty damn good without too much paint rubbing off. So yeah, at least that's got going on now. If what I just said made any sense. And then for the Ceratosaurus nasicornis, he was done a lot quicker, simply due to the fact that, well, he's a statue. It's not really as hard because you don't really got no moving parts. But yeah. So I guess I could start with this one here, just because he's smaller. So what I did in terms of sculpting was I added a little bit to the bottom of the tail here, and then I added these spikes that you see. That there's apparently a hair stuck to. No idea what's up with that. Clearly a hair from yours truly. Not a hair of rabbit variety or even a hair of anything else. It's kind of annoying. I'll have to get that later. But as you guys can see, pretty much, you got the standard variety here. You got the yellow and the brown and the greens. What gave me this idea for the color scheme was I thought back of the old the Kenner line of dinosaurs, and I'm thinking, what would they do? that's pretty much what got me started. I was thinking, what would they do? And I was thinking, all right, well, this color scheme kind of works. I mean, you got some reddish color there. Got these teeth, which are sort of sloppily painted. But I mean, hey, it didn't look right the way it was beforehand, and the teeth were a little bit breaking off. So, breaking off a little bit is what I meant to say. So, I just figured I'd snap them off and try to paint them right. And I mean, it looks good enough, especially from a distance. No idea what that's doing. That little piece of paint right there. I have no idea where that came from. I mean, that wasn't there last time I checked, but, it's hard to tell because with the clear coat, it's hot and it kind of heats up the paint, so I don't know, it might have ran a little bit. Or maybe that looks like more of a mishap that just recently happened. Either way, I mean, it's not that noticeable from a distance. Plus, I could fix it after the video. No biggie. As for the nostrils, this nostril was a little uneven, so I tried to make it look like a scar, like something bit him right there, and, kind of messed up the skin on the nostril there. And then this one is a lot more well formed. Then of course you got the little plates on the side of the face. Now, both this one and that one have it because I thought to myself, I was thinking, well, if these animals are going to be biting each other in the face for disputes and to try to kill each other and, well, pretty much everything, I figured they would have some sort of type of dermal armor on their face, like pretty much like really thick or bumpy skin on their face, almost like how dogs and lions and stuff like that have really stretchy skin. I figure this would be sort of a similar case, except instead of it being stretchy, it would be hard and bumpy, like pretty much osteoderms. And then of course I added to the crests here. I made them sort of an orangey color to try to go with the rest of it, but at the same time make it stand out a tad. The eyes turned out pretty good. Very simple, just kind of red with the same yellow as the rest of them, and then just a black pupil. Don't ask me how he sees beyond this snout. I'm assuming he would have to turn his head like a bird or something. I don't know. Got the inside of the mouth there with the lips, teeth that are again very poorly painted, but what you gonna do? I mean, looks good enough from a distance, I say. And, it ain't like when I do the photography, I'm going to have it right up on his face. Or at least I don't often do it. And then, as for the patterns, I did the green. I did the, it's like green mixed with a little bit of silver, I think. And then I did like a lighter green on the underbelly, which ended up getting replaced by a red because some running off happened, and I bled it into the rest of it to try to make it look more normal. And then I forgot that the original look of this figure actually had that going on too, so it fits overall. It does look pretty good. And then, of course, it fades off as you go, and then kind of kind of goes back into the emerald sort of color. Or maybe that ain't emerald, I don't know. And then, of course, there's a lighter green up here, like a light, or maybe this is emerald. I don't know. I see a shade of green, and I go with it. I don't know the names of all of them. I am a amateur. And then, of course, he got, which I'm assuming it's a he, because just off of the colors alone. It could be a female. I don't really know. There ain't really nothing down here. So, either way, either gender you look at, there ain't nothing there. So, it don't matter. That, and I just kind of default to he most of the time when I'm talking, just because it's, I don't know, it's something I grew up doing, just kind of, like, there's ladies in your group, I'd be like, hey guys, how's it going, and it's never really, I don't know, because me going, hey guys and gals, it's kind of, it prolongs it, I could visually tell that you're not a dude, you know what I'm saying, when I'm looking at a woman. It ain't like, I don't know, semantics. It's pretty much semantics. But anyways, you got like this sort of kind of grayish, what is that? Kind of like a silvery gray, kind of on the bump of his little crest there. And then he got these iguana-esque scales, I guess. I don't really know. I don't know what you'd call them. And then from that point on, he got white, kind of transitioning from his ear, which, hold on a second. Show you guys the inside of the ear there. Pretty much the same thing right down there too, which is then it's just black. And then as you guys can see here, like I said, guys, it's automatic. I know there's women watching this. It's just, shit. It's just what I default to. It ain't really. Trust me, I looked at the polls. At one point, I had more women watching this than guys. And I was like, holy shit, how's that even a thing? Then again, I guess that's the cool thing about animals, they ain't gender binary. Everybody could like a dinosaur. If any race, any gender, anybody could love dinosaurs, and that is what's fucking awesome about it. You don't need to know the language to understand a roar. It's a primal, we all have a primal understanding of what a roar means. But, back onto the pattern here. Pretty much what I did was, I did the green, the yellow, which you can see kind of bleeds through a little bit, but in my personal opinion, I think it makes it look more realistic. And then of course you got the white, I went to the green, the yellow, the brown, and then the white. Yeah, that's how I did it. And honestly, I think it looks pretty nice. Got it kind of breaking off here and then going back onto the calf. Same thing with here. And then of course you got like a little piece of skin missing there, because I saw that there was a little paint chip, and I just filled it in with some flesh color. And then he got this like little WWE style mark on his on the back of his hips, and then of course the stripe kind of tapers off smaller and smaller till the point to where it becomes a dot. Sometimes there's two dots, because I figured that'd be interesting to look at, like. You find them there, and like there's straight dots here, but then it breaks up and there's two dots. I figured that'd be cool, because it got the same thing going on over here. And I figure, I don't know, be a nice little breakup for anybody who finds it, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, oh, my bad. So yeah, that's the Ceratosaurus&nasicornis. I did the claws in sort of a silvery brown too. And yes, I remembered to paint the dew claw. After that whole Alpha Raptor video, I never forgot. Never again. But yeah, I think he turned out pretty good. Can't complain, although I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on with that right there. Wonder if I could just kind of. Hold on a sec. All right, well I clawed it off, but then that exposed some of the caulk, so I'm just gonna give it a little touch of paint. You know, I'll do that after the video. You guys know what that looks like. So then, here we got this guy. Or, yeah, I'm assuming it's a dude just because all the different colors. I mean, it's weird because with actually only human beings, the females wear the bright colors and then the males wear the dull stuff, while in pretty much almost everything else, the males usually have the bright, flamboyant colors, while the females are usually duller to help with camouflage. But yeah, so this guy, I love how he turned out. I think he turned out pretty good. Like I said, it took me so long because the moving parts, which almost everything still moves. Like these legs are stiffer than shit, but they move. That, and as for this, they can move too, but it kind of breaks up in the paint a little bit, so I probably won't be moving it all too much. That's another thing. I had to cut off a lot of this extra skin here, but I think it looks okay. As all of you could see it. Yeah. Except for right there. You can see a little bit of that color that it originally had. This was, by the way, for anybody who didn't know, this was originally... Oh shit, my bad. Hold on a second. Bringing it back up. It's rising up. There we go. Got limited space to film this in, my bad. Sorry, people. For anybody watching this, like I said, not professional in the slightest. So yeah, pretty much back onto this. Several different Ceratosaurus artworks inspired me for this guy. I'd have to say, I don't know, there's just a few of them. There was one of them, I think it was C.M. Kozman who did like one of them that was pure black, and then it had blue and orange on the nasal horn, and that kind of gave me the inspiration for the orange right here. And then I don't know, like with sort of the speckling on the bottom, on this sort of silverish gray, there was a Ceratosaurus that was kind of reddish in color that had that going on, and just so many different things. I just kind of mashed a bunch of Ceratosaurus designs together, and I used this color. I mixed some colors in with the leftover Genofang paint, and that was this guy, pretty much. And then afterwards, I painted all the scoots on his body, along with all these sort of mixtures of dark blues with the yellows. There was some unintentional scarring, which I do a lot on my figures, where I ended up not filling in cracks and stuff, so I decided to fill them in with some paint, make it look like scars from a distance. And this side was considerably worse, so I just made it look like he got attacked on this side, which, that adds character. There was another one on the side of his face, which I did too. Or I did that right there as well. There we go. You got his little ear here. Got another little ear. You can see a little bit of the original paint sticking through the jaws, but frankly, that's okay with me because I'd like the jaws to be able to move. I did a gloss inside the mouth with varying grays and pinks. Did the teeth in sort of a whitish with some parchment. Did the eye, obviously, with like a red marking around it. And then I did a very subtle kind of, what do you call that? A brown ring, sort of, with a yellow actual part of the eye with a black pupil, which I think it came out decent enough. I mean, you could definitely, you could definitely tell that it's looking at something, The eyes are straightened enough to where it kind of gives you that effect. As for physically what I changed of this figurine, it was quite a bit. Like, looking at the hands, I did the claws, which you guys probably remember before I painted this guy had 4 claws, but then I thought about it, and this figurine actually reminded me that theropods and suchins, and, well, pretty much all of them in general, have only 3 claws on the hand. And then the 4th finger, or whatever finger they have left, don't have a claw, which is honestly really fascinating. I have no idea why, but that's just how it is. So I just kind of just broke off that claw there and sharpened up the end of the finger, carved it out a little bit, and yeah, that's what I did. I just kind of, that, and I mean, these claws are massive. I tried to make them almost like uneven meat hook type design to it, Yeah. Because I figure, just with the general arm, I figure with the bulk and the fact that their teeth, that their head is so far away from their arms, like even if you put these arms up, it could barely, I get that they could bend their head down in real life, but you got to think about it, like with how far away their hands are to their face, I'd imagine their claws would be considerably longer than what we'd imagine in the paleontology reconstructions, just because, how do I explain? If their head is this far away from their body, and then they're yay so tall off the ground, their arms can't really reach a whole lot, so I'd imagine their claws would be longer than what we'd imagine just to be able to get a good reach on something. And even if they are just secondary weapons, that is an important thing to think about, is because a lot of animals have really long claws, and even like herbivores, like their the keratin on their hooves can grow out really far. Especially if you've never seen horses that have their if you ever seen a horse that don't have like parts of their hooves shaven down, like it could grow out to absurd lengths. So I figured, this being a wild animal and needing its relatively long claws, I figured, hey, why not, it makes more sense than there just being like a little claw, especially considering if you take the concept of these pretty much being talons, like a bird's talons, then it makes a lot more sense. So, as for like what gave me the idea here, it's just like I don't really know. It just looked a little plain, and I figured it worked well with the whole ornamentation on the head, and that's where this whole concept came from. That and again, I don't know why all these little hairs and stuff are appearing. It looks like a hair on a brush. And I can't even reach it. It's all right. But some of you might remember from the prior video. you gotta love old Max down there playing with the squeaky toy. This ended up snapping off, like the very top of it, and this actually broke in half when I was painting it. So I took the resin and I glued this back together to where it's nice and strong, and or at least strong enough to hold. And then with this one, I couldn't get the tip back on there, so I just made it look like it snapped off naturally. And honestly, I think it works. I think it gives the creature a bit more character. I mean, how can you not love that face? As for like the antler-esque ornamentations on his head, like these things, pretty much sort of just like a copper color. Obviously I got the inspiration from like deer and stuff, but if we're talking about like just general ornamentation, I figure so many birds are insane with the ornamentation, like they go out of their way just to be noticed, and I figure it would probably be the same for theropods, but maybe since a lot of them were more predatory, they would have to play it down just a little bit. So you would have stuff like this where it could still reasonably blend into their environment. But at the same time, females would notice it and be like, oh yeah, would you look at that? There's a male, you know? And as for like the whole blues and stuff fitting in, I just thought, like this green, the sort of greenish color, the bluish green, I figured it would fit in so well just with some yellows and some blues, of which I didn't really get any inspiration for. I just kind of thought about it, and I was like, yeah, that would look good. The teeth are okay. I mean, there's like this weird little fleshy, like, skin tag on the inside of his mouth. I have no idea what's up with that, but, it's there. As for the feet are decent. I resculpted and painted the dew claws because they were a little bit too small and unnoticeable. As for the tail can still move around rather nicely and not too much paint rubbing off, which helps me out a lot. You got the scoots kind of running down here, with some of the blues kind of showing to be brighter just due to the lighter color of the scoots over the skin. You got the same sort of stuff running down. You got some of the yellow markings kind of fading out and fading in with a old scar right there. And then on the other side, you see like some sort of puncture mark, which I thought was really cool because this was unintentional. This just kind of showed up when I was sculpting it. I guess I forgot to fill it in, but I played with it. I worked with it. I said, wouldn't it be so cool if, because of how it went in like this and how it seems to be popping out, if that was like a thagomizer wound? Like this Ceratosaurus went after a Stegosaurus and barely managed to dodge the blow of a thagomizer, and it poked through this part of his tail and out the other side. I thought how cool that would be, if somebody could piece that together. And I thought, I just thought how clever that would be. I was like, yeah, I could play with that. Sure, I could play with the concept of that. But, as you guys could see here, or sorry, guys and girls, my bad. I really got to work on that. For those who do care, I apologize. I really do. It's not nothing intentional. It's just, it's like when people call pterosaurs birds. Like, actually, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I make people feel the way I feel when people call pterosaurs birds. When I say guys, when I'm referring to guys and women. There we go. It's a good way to look at it. I could work on that then. Or when people call a crocodile an alligator, which, if you just take a minute to look at them, they're really not that similar looking. I mean, different color, different face, everything. But, people do it. So I guess I gotta be better than that. I gotta remember. So as you can see there are the nostrils, which I glossed up as well. And, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I can't really think of much of anything else to really talk about with these two. And in terms of articulation, you just got the jaw that opens up. You got the scale detail for the jaws there. It could go up and down, which, for the record, I love Ceratosaurus. Ceratosaurus is probably my second favorite dinosaur after Spinosaurus. And just because they're very unique, You got some original paint in there, but that's okay because it matches up. Actually, yeah, it matches up nice with the fleshier tones of this, so that's okay in my opinion. It can move its arm up and down. Doesn't really go out just because of the paint, and frankly, who needs their dinosaurs to T-pose anyway? That's the stupidest crap ever. Like, who really needs that? Mattel? God. But anyway, yeah. Like I said, it moves forward, moves back. I pronated the wrists to be a little bit more like sort of a clappish type of a, how do I say? I tried to make it at least somewhat more realistic where the palms are facing towards each other instead of like this. And then, obviously, because the paint kind of glues them together, which I don't mind. Honestly, like a dinosaur arm should not be able to swivel at that point anyway. I don't really see why they do that to begin with, so, yeah. I had that, which, by the way, mistake I made. I made one scoot here, and then I'd made two scoots here, but, I mean, it's not impossible, you could say, just with genetics and how most animals kind of, kind of look different from each individual of the species. You could say it's not that big of a deal. Got some like lighter color here. I'm assuming maybe like the caulk kind of helped illuminate some of the darker colors there, but that's okay. I kind of like it, you know. It kind of gives it some extra color variety. But you know, hear the chickens going off in the background. You got sort of like almost like a tail fluke type thing going, which I was going to talk about earlier, just because there's a little study done with Ceratosaurus. Apparently, they were saying that it could have possibly been semi-aquatic, like hunting crocodilian prey. And then other papers were obviously saying that, well, it probably wasn't. But in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense. Because they got like these long serrated blade-like teeth, which help catch slippery prey, such as small crocodilians and fish. And then on top of that, if it's in an environment, especially the nasicornis here, the smaller of the two, if it's in an environment where it has to compete with Allosaurus for foodstuffs, not to mention Torvosaurus, if it's living in that specific area, and then Saurophaganax, if it lives in, you know, if we're talking about North America, then yeah, you know, I mean, it's like, it's a lot of stuff it got to compete with. So I'd imagine some niche partitioning probably wouldn't go fully aquatic prey, which predators rarely do that anyway. They usually try to keep their options open. You know, it probably went, you know, half aquatic prey, maybe varying on the seasons, and then maybe some scavenging on land along with hunting. You know, pretty much whatever it had to do to survive, it probably did. So, you know, it's kind of like people look at a lot of predatory animals, black and white, like, oh, they only ate this, they only ate that. Listen, folks, they'll eat whatever the hell they have to eat to live. That's just animals in general. Like, they'll do what they have to do. Even if it's out of their comfort zone, they'll do it. But, so yeah, I just gave them a little bit of some flappy skin here. I figured, you know, why not? It could help with the whole aspect of either them being aquatic, or it just could give it a nice look. Worst comes to worst. Oh, just hit his face on the top of the wood there. But yeah, there's you know, the Ceratosaurus dentisculatus and the Ceratosaurus&nasicornis. If you guys and girls liked what you saw, just let me know. Let me know. You know, God, my voice, my friggin' voice broke there for a second. It went from to that was dumb. Hate it when that happens. Everybody who got a cracking voice knows how annoying that is. You try to have a serious conversation, they'll be like, "Oh yes, I must admire that work." It's very annoying. But yeah, there's those two, and like I said, if you guys like them, just let me know in the comments. You know, don't bother leaving a like if you don't want to. Only do it if you want to. You know, and yeah, I hope all of you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. As for what creature I could do next, I might do the Monster Hunter Great Baggy, since that was the one that got the most votes beforehand. And then maybe the Melantauga next. Something like that, I don't know. Worst comes to worst, if you guys want, I could just open up another poll and let you guys decide. Either way, guys and girls. I hate being goddamn politically correct bullshit in there. Alright, everybody have a good one.